I want to take you straight to the Randburg Magistrates Court. Cristalda Lewis is on the scene for us. Cristalda, what are you witnessing?
All right, these live visuals to Duduzane Zuma leaving the Randburg Magistrates Court just moments after he's been found not guilty on culpable homicide and negligent driving charges. Here he is. Here, let's see if we can get a quick word with him. Duduzane, just a quick one here. How are you feeling today? Okay. All right, we're not getting a word from Duduzane at this point, but of course the former president Jacob Zuma, who's been at his son's side for the past 5 years, speaking to the SABC exclusively a few moments ago, telling us that he is very relieved by the court's findings and says it's quite clear that Duduzane was not negligent when he was driving. Let's move towards this direction here. I'm trying to see if we can have another word. The media moving towards this direction here. We'll ask. All right, Duduzane Zuma being greeted by some people here. We'll move towards this direction. Well, just moments after being found not guilty on culpable homicide and negligent driving charges, Duduzane Zuma walks out of the Randburg Magistrates Court, a free man. 5 years later, Duduzane, how are you feeling today? Maybe you can convince him to say a word after 5 years, Duduzane.
Are you
Just
relieved?
a quick one, Duduzane.
Are you relieved at least?
Are you relieved?
Excuse me, guys. May I please get through? Thank you very much. Coming through, sir.
What would you want to say to the Dube family? All right, the same stance that we have from Mr. Duduzane Zuma throughout the trial, not really wanting to speak to the media at this stage, but walking out of Duduzane after being found not guilty on culpable homicide and negligent driving charges. He's now leaving the court. But just a few moments ago, Desiree and Blaine, we managed to have a word with his father, the former president Jacob Zuma, who has been at his side for the past 5 years since that accident in 2014. And essentially what the former president told me is that he's relieved once again by the court ruling here today, in that there was no reasonable person could have anticipated that they would have caused that accident. And it seems this court has also found to be true the version that Duduzane Zuma had given, that his vehicle had basically aquaplaned. So after hitting a puddle of water, it had basically aquaplaned and then subsequently causing the accident. I don't think at this stage we've not had an opportunity to speak to the family of Phumzile Dube, who were present in court. They managed to leave during that media fracas that was taking place just a few moments ago. But certainly for Duduzane Zuma, it's been 5 dreaded years, but I don't think the Dube family are walking away from this today with any closure. Recall, of course, from the time that the National Prosecuting Authority had decided it was not going to prosecute in this matter, AfriForum then saying it was to proceed with a private prosecution, and then subsequently the NPA making a U-turn, and that was what got us to this particular instance here at the moment. But his father, not mincing his words, certainly since the very beginning of this trial, the former president Jacob Zuma, who has been saying, well, just move away here from the cars and try not to block the traffic. But the former president Jacob Zuma telling SABC News he's very relieved by the court ruling here today, a clear indication that his son should not be held to account for or found guilty for the death of Phumzile Dube. And I asked him again, I must add there as well, about, of course, from Monday next week to Friday, he will, of course, that's Zuma Senior, the former president, will be appearing before the Commission of Inquiry into State Capture in Parktown here in Johannesburg. And in isiZulu, he said to me, ubiziwe by the Commission of Inquiry. He's been called, and kuzobona nakhona. Basically, they will see there. So not giving away too much, but it certainly seems that he is ready, of course, for whatever may come his way in answering to allegations of a state capture. You would know, of course, that just over the past couple of days, you've had Ambassador Bruce Kolwane, of course, who is said to have been the fall guy or the man behind the controversial landing of the Gupta aircraft at the Waterkloof Air Force Base, in which he had name-dropped, admittedly so, the name of the former president. So we're expecting on Monday through to Friday next week that we will hear, of course, again from the former president, Jacob Zuma. But Duduzane Zuma walking away from the Randburg Magistrates Court here today, a free man, after being after being found not guilty on culpable homicide and negligent driving charges. It's back to you in studio from now.
Griselda, no doubt that you scanned the room when the judgment was being handed down. I'm not sure if Griselda Lewis can hear us.
Yeah.
Yes, you can. Griselda, tell us about the immediate reaction from the Dube family. We haven't heard much from them during the course of this trial. What was the immediate reaction?
Well, Blaine, they've stayed away from talking to the media since the very beginning. And I think that had been by the advice of lobby group AfroForum. Every communication we've tried to have with the Dube family, we've always been asked to communicate through AfroForum. And really, they have not spoken. We've tried multiple times to speak to the family, you know, about what they've been going through since 2014. And in particular, you recall during the trial, when some of the survivors of the crash had detailed how Phumzile Dube's lifeless body was lying outside the window, one of the windows of the taxi she was traveling in. They still did not want to speak to the media, and shortly after the judgment was read out, finding Duduzane Zuma not guilty on culpable homicide and negligent driving, they just sped out of court, and they're nowhere to be seen at this court at the moment. We'll certainly try at a later stage, but it must come as a huge blow for the Dube family, because they went through great lengths to try and get what they have been saying is justice for the death of Phumzile Dube. So nothing from the Dube family at this stage. They've already left the court, and fortunately the only ones we've been able to speak to at this stage is, of course, Duduzane Zuma, who's not willing to say much, and of course the former president, Jacob Zuma, who's of course relieved for his son.
And of course another appearance today, Griselda Lewis, Duduzane's twin sister.
That's right, Desiree. What we really saw here today is massive support for Duduzane Zuma. His sister is here. Some of his cousins are here as well. And what looked to be some of the family members from his wife's side, I'm yet to confirm that, Desiree, but the entire front bench of the gallery had been filled by family members of Duduzane Zuma. So really the kind of support that they've shown him throughout this entire trial. His sister has probably been here for about 3 times now. So there's been great support for him indeed, and I think they're much relieved that he walks away from the Randburg Magistrates Court, a free man, not being held liable for that 2014 accident. So a lot of support. I'm going to try and walk towards this direction. We did see a Black First Land First that had also come to show support. You would recall, they blame that Black First Land First had long maintained that there had been a conspiracy against the former president's son. Let me just dip in here very quickly to what the BLF's Zanele Luana is saying.
And no one is holding them to account. So we are very happy with the judgment as Black First Land First. We have always maintained that Duduzane Zuma is being targeted by the racist AfroForum because he is the son of the former president of the country. We welcome the judgment, and we do hope that this sets a very good precedence to stop the abuse of the courts to deal with people that are regarded as political opponents. They are too many criminals in this country. You have Pravin Gordhan. He is refusing to cooperate with the public protector. The president of the country is refusing to account for millions of money he got so that he gets elected as the ANC president. FW de Klerk, who murdered black people, has not been held to account.
That was Zanele Luana. Let me just chip in there as well. Zanele, thank you very much for your time here on SABC News. You've already said that you're very happy with the judgment that's just been handed down. Another issue as well that much focus will be put on is on Monday, when the former president himself will be appearing before the Commission of Inquiry into State Capture. He says, "Kuzobona na khona, as Black First Land First, will you join others who have said they're going to camp outside that building?"
We have been with President Zuma since 2016, when it was not fashionable to support him. All we are saying is that he was one president in this country who did not take the calls from Stellenbosch, and that is why that commission was established, to embarrass him. So on Monday, we will be there as Black First Land First to support President Zuma as someone who gave us radical economic transformation that is being abandoned by his own party and the president of the country. So we will be there to support President Zuma. We believe this is part of a political campaign again to taint his name and to particularly erase his legacy, because he is one president in this country that said no more IMF, no more World Bank. Why don't we have BRICS? Why don't we strengthen alliances with countries that respect the plight of black people? And that is why regime change was coordinated to remove him as president of the country. We are there. We are going to support him, and those who have called for the commission, they must be very worried, because the beans, we believe, are about to be spilled. We hope the president will use the opportunity to really expose the hypocrites.
All right, thank you very much for your time, Zanele Luana, just giving us her reaction, of course, to the judgment finding Duduzane Zuma not guilty of culpable homicide as well as negligent driving. They've been at his side since the very beginning, maintaining that this was nothing but a political conspiracy. And then again, looking ahead to Monday, certainly from Monday to Friday, the former president who's been supporting his son here will be appearing before the Commission of Inquiry into State Capture. And Zanele Luana says the beans will be spilt. Well, that's where we're going to have to leave it here, Blaine, live from the Randburg Magistrates Court.
Still in work there from Griselda Lewis.
Griselda, thank you very much indeed for your reporting. We'll try to get more reaction with regards to this verdict, the judgment. Duduzane Zuma not guilty.